So today I am going to begin from moment of inertia. About moment of inertia already I have told in the previous lecture, but once again we will begin from here. Moment of inertia. We also call it as the rotational inertia. Rotational inertia. And this term is equivalent to the inertia in translational motion. In translational motion, it is equivalent to the inertia. So as we know that what is inertia? It is the inability of any body to change its state of rest or of uniform motion by its own. Means it is that ability by which it opposes any change in its state of rest or of uniform motion. Now see here, what is moment of inertia? So moment of inertia, it is the inability, it is the property of body. I am writing here, property of body, by, because of which it opposes any change in its state of rest or of uniform motion, rotation, because of which it opposes any change its state of rest or of uniform rotation about it an axis. Akshita Singh, turn off the audio. Akshita. So about an axis. So it is the property of body because of which it opposes any change in its state of rest or of uniform rotation about an axis. Is known as moment of inertia. Known as moment of inertia or rotational inertia. Both are same thing. Now see here, this is the qualitative meaning of moment of inertia. More the moment of inertia, it more will be opposition towards the change. And when there will be greater opposition for the change, then greater torque will be required to make any change. As we know that it is the torque which produces rotation. It is the torque which produces rotation. And torque is produced when force acts at some distance from the line of action, from axis of rotation. Force acts at some distance from the point of rotation. Means फोर्स की लाइन ऑफ एक्शन पॉइंट ऑफ रोटेशन से नहीं पास होनी चाहिए, अदरवाइज दिस फोर्स विल नॉट बी able to produce any moment. This force will not be able to produce any moment if it is acting like this. If it is acting in this direction, it will not be able to produce any moment. It can produce moment only when its line of action is at some distance from the point of rotation. It's clear. So this turning can be produced by torque. If there is a greater opposition, then greater torque will be required. This is the physical significance of the moment of inertia. Now this is the qualitative meaning. Now how do you determine the moment of inertia of a particle? First we will see the MI of a particle about a given axis. mi of a particle about a given axis. And one more thing, since this is equivalent to the mass in translational motion, and mass is what type of quantity? It is scalar. Therefore, moment of inertia is also a scalar quantity. It is also a scalar quantity about an axis. So see here, what will be the moment of inertia of a particle about an axis? Suppose this is some axis of rotation and there is a particle of mass m at whose perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation is r. It is the perpendicular distance of the particle. What will be its mi about this axis? So mi of mi we represent by the symbol I. What will be its mi about this axis? It will be m into r square. Means moment of inertia of a particle about an axis, it is numerically equal to the product of mass of the body and square of its perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation. इन दो चीजों का प्रोडक्ट है, इसके मास का और इसकी जो परपेंडिकुलर डिस्टेंस है एक्सिस से उसके स्क्वायर का. इट्स क्लियर. सो mi of a particle about a given axis is equal to product of mass of the body and square of its perpendicular distance from the axis. That is known as the mi. Now suppose there is any body which is consisting number of particles, and it is this body is supposed capable to rotate about this axis. Here one particle is of mass m1 is at what distance? r1. This is another particle of mass m2 at a distance r2. Here this is another particle of mass mi at the distance ri. So what will be the mi of this particle? Suppose this is the nth particle whose mass is mn and its distance is rn. So what will be the mi of this body? So mi of this body will be equal to the sum of the mi's of the particles constituting the body about this axis. Sum of the mi's of the, what is the mi of the body? Mi of body. It will be equal to sum of mi of particles about the axis. It's clear. So see here, what will be of this particle? It will be m1 r1 square. Since it is a scalar quantity, therefore it can be added simply. Plus m2 r2 square plus and so on plus mi ri square plus and so on plus mn rn square. It's clear. So this we can write I equals to sigma, sigma means summation, sigma m r square means इस तरीके के terms का summation है. It's clear. This will be the moment of inertia of the body. Now one more thing. If you change the axis, now in place of this axis, if you change the axis, what will happen? The values of r1, r2, ri all will change. And when the values of the distances will be changed, values of r will be changed, what will happen? Mi will also be changed. Means there is one difference between the moment of inertia and mass. Mass is the measure of the inertia in translational motion. Inertia is a fixed quantity. What is the measure of inertia? It is mass. But what is the measure of moment of inertia? It is the mass as well as its distribution around the axis of rotation. Its measure is, what is the measure of moment of inertia? It is the mass of the body as well as distribution of mass around the axis of rotation. If you change the axis of rotation, mi of the body will be changed. It's clear. Therefore, mi of the body depends upon the axis about which body is going to rotate. So see here, mi of body depends on number one, mass of the body, number two, distribution of mass about axis of rotation. When we will change the axis of rotation, moment of inertia will be changed. So these are the points regarding the moment of inertia. How will you find in case of this is about the discrete body? But suppose there is a rigid body in which there is a continuous distribution of mass. There is any rigid body having continuous distribution of mass. Suppose here it is completely filled with mass. It's clear. Here in this body, mass is located only at some points. Mass is located only at some points. But here there is a continuous distribution of mass and it is capable to rotate about this axis. In this case, how will you find the moment of inertia? So we have assumed that there an infinitesimally small mass dm situated at what distance? It is situated at r. So what will be its moment of inertia? Moment of inertia of this will be equal to integral dm into r square. It's clear. It will be moment of inertia of this will be dm into r square. In order to obtain the total moment of inertia of this body, इस बॉडी पूरे का मोमेंट ऑफ इनर्शिया निकालने के लिए क्या करेंगे? We will integrate over the whole body. So on integrating over the whole body, so it will be equal to integral dm into r square. But we don't write like this, integral dm into r square. We will write integral r square dm. It's clear. Over whole body, integral di chi. So this is the formula of the mi of the rigid body. But in our course, numericals are only on this, in which the mass distributed discretely. Mass का distribution क्या है? Discrete है. Now, what will be the unit of moment of inertia? So you can see here, mass is measured in kilogram. Distance in meter, it is kilogram, meter is square. It is clear. Now see here, after this, we will see one term, radius of gyration. Radius of gyration. So see here, what is about the difference between the mi and mass? Already I have told that mass is a fixed. Mass is the measure of inertia which is fixed. As long as mass is same, what will happen? Inertia of that body will remain same. But mi is the measure of rotational inertia. And it is not a fixed quantity. It depends upon the mass of the body as well as distribution of mass around the axis of rotation. Now, after this, we will see a term radius of gyration. Now, see here, you can see this thing. Here we have taken this body and its moment of inertia about this axis is given by this. I equals to sigma mr square. Now, what will be the total mass of the body? Total mass of the body will be m1 plus m2 plus and so on plus mn. It's clear. That is sigma mi. If we assume that this total mass is situated at one point. This total mass is situated at this point, at a distance capital R from this axis. It's clear. Now you find out the moment of inertia of this about this axis. So what will be the moment of inertia? I equals to m into, and here we use the symbol k. I equals to m into k square. अगर ये चीज इसके बराबर हो जाए, m into k square is equal to sigma mi ri square, then k is called as the radius of gyration. K is called as the radius of gyration. Now see here. Here total mass is this. Now instead of distribution of mass in this way, we have assumed that whole mass of the body is situated at one point at this much distance from the axis. Now determine the mi of this mass about this axis. It will be m into k square. If this and this are equal, ये दोनों एमाइज क्या हो, इक्वल हो, then k is known as the radius of gyration. Means what is the radius of gyration? Radius of gyration of a body, I am writing here, you can see radius of gyration. You can see in your book also, radius of, in your book it is given on the page number 423, radius of gyration of a body about a given axis, about a given axis is equal to that perpendicular distance, of a point from that axis, where if entire mass of body is supposed to be concentrated then its moment of inertia would be the same which is obtained as with actual distribution of mass, with actual distribution of mass about that axis. You can see once again, radius of gyration of a body about a given axis is equal to that perpendicular distance of a point from that axis, is equal to that perpendicular distance of a point from that axis, where if entire mass of body is supposed to be concentrated, then its mi would be same which is obtained with actual distribution of mass about that axis. Means it is that perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation at which if we assume the whole mass supposed to be concentrated, then it will give the same value of mi as obtained with the actual distribution of mass. Means what is radius of gyration? It is that perpendicular distance of a point from the axis of rotation at which if whole mass of body is supposed to be concentrated, then it would produce same moment of inertia as obtained with the actual distribution of the mass. This is called the moment of inertia. Now see here. Here you can see that I equals to m1 r1 square plus m2 into r2 square plus and so on plus mn rn square. If we assume that all the particles are of same massage, सभी particles के mass क्या है बराबर है and it is equal to m. So what can you write? I can be written as m r1 square, and here there are how many particles? N particles are there. M r1 square plus m r2 square plus and so on plus m rn square. Now you take out m common, so it will be equal to what? R1 square plus R2 square plus and so on Rn square. Here we have assumed that body is comprising n particles, each is having mass small m, and their distances from the axis of rotation are r1, r2 and so on Rn. So what will be the moment of inertia of the body? It will be sum of the mi's of the particles, mr1 square plus mr2 square and so on mrn square. M has been taken out. अब हम क्या करेंगे? न्यूमरेटर में n से मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे और डिनोमिनेटर में n से डिवाइड. So see here it will be m into n. This is r1 square plus r2 square plus and so on plus rn square divided by n. Now what is m into n? So you can see here what is m into n. M is mass of each particle, n is the number of particles, therefore it will be the total mass of the body. It will be the total mass of the body. So we can write this expression. ये जो I का expression हमने यहाँ पर लिखा है, this can be written as I equals to, here in place of this m, and here it is r1 square plus r2 square plus and so on rn square upon n. Now see here, if you see what is this thing, so you can see here r1 r2 and so on क्या है rn. These are the distances of particles from axis of rotation. It's clear. Now if you write this r1 plus r2 plus and so on plus rn upon n, ये क्या चीज है? जब हम इस तरीके से लिखते हैं तो ये क्या है? So this is the mean distance of particle from the axis of rotation. It is the average distance, mean distance. Now if you do the square, so we will say that it is the mean of square distances of particle from axis of rotation. It is called the mean of, mean means average, arithmetic mean of squared distances of particles from axis of rotation. Now see here, it is the mean of square distances of particles from axis of rotation. This we can name as k square. It's clear. This we have named as k square. So what is k? K will be k here. It is a single distance. It's clear. So k will be here. Square root of this r1 square plus r2 square plus and so on plus rn square upon n. Now you can see you have started from where? You have started from here. I equals to mr1 square plus mr2 square and so on. It's clear. And finally you have reached here. Now this we have named as k square. So it is equal to m into k square. So what will be k here? K is the radius of gyrus. Because already I have described what is radius of gyration. It is that distance from the axis of rotation at which if whole mass of body is supposed to be concentrated, then it would produce same moment of inertia as obtained with the actual distribution of the mass. As obtained with the actual distribution of mass. It's clear. So this is called the radius of gyration. Means radius of gyration, how can you describe? It is the square root of mean square distance of particles from the axis of rotation. It is the square root of mean square distance. Mean square distance of particle from axis of rotation. So see here, you can see therefore radius of gyration of a body about an axis is equal to square root of mean square distance of particles constituting the body. This is the radius of gyration. Now, radius of gyration, it depends upon its value, depends upon what? Its value depends upon the distribution of mass. Because if you change the axis, the values of R1, R2 will change, and therefore the value of K will also be changed. It's clear. It also depends upon the position and inclination of the axis of the rotation. Means if we axis is passing through the same point, but now it is inclined this way. Once again, the values will be changed. Now R1 will become this, R2 will become this. It is clear. So what will happen? Radius of gyration will be changed. Now, after this, I am going to explain you two theorems on moment of inertia. These are very important theorems on moment of inertia. Number one, first is the parallel axis theorem. Parallel axis theorem. And second is the perpendicular axis theorem. Perpendicular axis theorem. Now this can be applied for a three-dimensional rigid body. while it can be applied only in case of the lamina. It's clear that in case of lamina, we can apply the perpendicular axis theorem. Lamina is a two-dimensional. This notebook is it is in lamina form. This cardboard, it is also in the lamina form. You can see here, it is in the lamina shape, which is having prominently length and breadth. So see here, what is parallel axis theorem? Parallel axis theorem. Now suppose this is a body and you have to determine its moment, its center of mass is suppose this point. This point is the center of mass. It's clear. And we have to determine its moment of inertia about this axis. It's clear. It's about this axis we have to determine. It's clear. Suppose its moment of inertia about this axis is I. Now we will determine its moment of inertia about a parallel axis passing through center of mass. मतलब एक एक्सिस हम और लेंगे जो कहां से पास होगी, वो सेंटर ऑफ मास से और इसके पैरेलल हो. मतलब क्या है ये. दूसरे डायग्राम में भी देख सकते हैं. सपोज दिस इज द एक्सिस ऑफ रोटेशन and this point is the center of mass. So now here parallel axis means passing through CM and parallel to this one. Means this. So according to the parallel axis theorem, moment of inertia of a body about a given axis is equal to moment of inertia of the same body about a parallel axis through center of mass. Moment of inertia of the body about a given axis is equal to a moment of inertia of the body about a parallel axis through the center of mass, that is equal to ICM plus product of mass of the body. Suppose mass of body is total mass of body is m, which is equal to sigma mi. Product of mass of body and square of perpendicular distance between both axes, that is h, means m into h square. M into h square. I equals to ICM plus mh square. Now what is I? I is the moment of inertia about the given axis. What is ICM? Moment of inertia of the body about a parallel axis. About a parallel axis मतलब given axis के parallel and passing through center of mass plus product of mass of body and square of perpendicular distance between both axes. This is called the parallel axis theorem. It's clear. This we call it the parallel axis theorem. You can see here, according to, I am writing here, according to parallel axis theorem. Moment of inertia of body about a given axis is equal to mi of body about a parallel axis through center of mass plus product of mass and square of perpendicular distance between both axes. This is the parallel axis theorem. I equal to ICM plus MH square. It is clear. Now see here, how will you derive this? So you can see its derivation. Here we can see the derivation of this axis, this theorem. Now here this is the body and this is the center of mass. Here center of mass is this, and this passage through the center of mass. This is the parallel axis, parallel to the given axis, passing through center of mass. Let this is the ith particle whose mass is mi, and its distance from this axis is given ri, and the distance of the ith particle through this axis is xi. xi मीन्स क्या है, ith पार्टिकल की डिस्टेंस इस एक्सिस से है ri और इस वाली एक्सिस से which is passing through the center of mass, from there it is xi. This distance we have taken as h. It's clear. It will remain same for all the particles. So see here, what can you write? Ri. Ri can be written as xi plus h. Here mi about this axis is I, mi about this axis we have taken as ICM. Now if you write the value of I will be equal to what? Sigma mi ri square. What is ICM? It will be sigma mi xi square. Sigma mi xi square. Now you see here I equals to sigma mi. In place of ri, you write this plus h ka whole square. Simplify sigma mi. This is xi square plus h square plus 2xi into h. So it will be equal to sigma mi xi square on opening the bracket plus sigma mi h square plus sigma mi into 2xi into h. You can see here. I have opened the bracket. Now sigma mi xi square, it is ICM. Here h is constant for all the particles. It will remain same for all the particles. So we can write h square sigma mi. And this we have written 2h taken out. Sigma mi xi. Now first you see what is mi xi. Mi xi is, it is mi, it is the mass of ith particle. Xi, it is the perpendicular distance of the particle through the axis passing through center of mass, from the axis passing through center of mass. xi क्या है? ith particle की perpendicular distance है from which axis? Which passes through center of mass. So this we can say that it is the moment of mass of ith particle about center of mass. Moment of mass of ith particle about center of mass. So what will be sigma mi xi? So you can write sum of moment of masses about center of mass, and sum of moment of masses about center of mass, it is 0. This we have studied in the center of mass. sum of moment of masses about center of mass is always zero. So since it is zero, therefore what will happen? This term will vanish. And what will you get? Ultimately, what is left? I equals to ICM plus H square sigma mi is m. That is I equals to ICM plus m into H square. It's clear? This will be left. So it's all about in this lecture about next theorem, which is the perpendicular axis theorem. So about that I will explain you in the next lecture. So today I am ending the class here.